on my own podcast with your host, Jacob Willis.
What you talking about, Willis?
Hey, you guys, it's your boy Jacob Willis, and welcome to episode 2 of the On My Own podcast, where I may be on my own, but I'm never alone, darling. And today's guest has many names. Not only does she go by her government name, Nicole M Lewis Jones, but she also can go by Nick, the late bloomer, Miss Coco, the veteran, and a couple of her ex's last names. She's a comedian, she's an actress, and she is beautiful. OG, Nicole, what's up? Welcome to the On My Own podcast.
Finally.
Yes.
Finally. It is a pleasure, a very serious pleasure to be here with you, brother.
I'm glad to have you here.
I'm glad to be here.
Look good in all that red.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. A little something.
So Nicole even has a couple of her exes' last names that she goes by. And why is that?
Well, because I have a couple of exes.
You still stick on to the names. It seems like you have a lot of alter egos.
You know what? I guess I do. And I come up with the Nick, the late bloomer, because I feel like Nick is short for Nicole. I've kind of been a tomboy somewhat in my life, yet very much still a woman, born and love my feminine energy when I'm allowed to be in it. But I've come up with Nick the late bloomer because Nick is short for Nicole. I was a barber, so it sounds kind of like, I had a lot more of the ruggedness during the barber days of my life.
Right.
And my latest is Coco because who doesn't love cocoa?
Okay. Girl, I know I love me some cocoa butter.
Yes, cocoa is always good. So I'm cool with almost any nickname with the exception of Nikki. Never call me Nikki, and I have my reasons for that as well.
I promise you I won't call you Nikki.
Please.
I can't even keep it with all the other ones you gave.
Okay. But yeah, the last names, I have 2 ex-husbands. So that's where the 2 last names come in.
Okay, well, at least you were married before, because I haven't had a husband yet.
No.
Still searching, still looking, but he coming in God in divine timing.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
I start off every episode with a mental health moment, okay?
Okay.
How do you feel mentally from a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being you feel immaculate, 1 being I'm not feeling too good.
Well, you know what? That is a battle, a struggle, I believe, for an awful lot of people. It is there is a real big stigma around that it is not looked upon to have any kind of mental health issues. However, living in denial definitely doesn't help that. So since I stopped living in denial of some of my shortcomings and some of my traumas that I've been through in my life, I just feel like every day is a blessing. I pray every day. I have good days and bad days like anybody else, but it helps to put yourself in a situation and in a position where when you're down, someone can say something to you that lifts you up, or just be a listening ear and a shoulder, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We all need that sometimes.
We do. We do.
Okay.
And I thank you for that because you have been that for me. Although there's a major age difference between you and I, you're grown, I'm grown, and you're a good person. So I thank you for your friendship and your advice that you've given me, because advice and friendships can be not necessarily people just in your peers, but you can learn from anyone.
Yeah.
10
Absolutely.
years, 15 years younger, older, So I appreciate your wisdom and your patience with me.
Thank you. I appreciate them too. That it was given to me by God.
I know.
But thank Mama Kim, because she's the one that
right.
gave it to me.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I know a lot of people are like, okay, so who is this on the couch? And Jacob, how do you know her? What is the relationship? First of all, she is my neighbor, and she's amazing. This is a neighbor, if I run out of sugar, if I need milk, if I need some eggs, bacon, sausage, or toast, I can come knock on her door. If I got a package, they put it in a secure place. place. I'm like, hey, girl, I got a package at my door. That was me yesterday. I said, can you
Absolutely.
put that in the house for me? If they put a letter on my door, anything, she make sure I'm good.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you're originally from Boston, okay?
Yes.
And then you migrated over there to Guam.
Yeah.
Take us on your journey. Let us know.
Well, you know what, Jacob, I've been around, all around the world, same song, as someone used to say, Humpty Dumpty, whoever that group was. What was the boy's name? I can't even.
Me
Humpty.
neither, girl.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about with the nose and the all around the world, same Digital Underground, exactly.
Hey.
Appreciate you. So basically, I'm from Boston originally. My dad left Boston when I was about 10 years old. He moved to Los Angeles for his music career. He's been here ever since. My mother and I left Boston when I was around 12, 13 years old, and we moved to Guam. That's a whole nother story for a cocktail for that story. And and people want to say military. No military. It's just a whole nother story. So we're going to get into that Guam story on another whole nother planet, time, day, and all of that. So from Guam, I went from Guam to Los Angeles, stayed in Los Angeles 15, 18 years, had the nerve to think that I was bored for a moment. And instead of just taking a trip and coming back to Los Angeles, I decided to go ahead and move to Atlanta. So I go to Atlanta. I do Atlanta for a long time. I'm not even going to say years. And then I decided to come back to where I will leave this earth, which is Los Angeles, where I belong. So yeah, I've been around a little bit.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay, and then you also talked about how you were a barber. How did you get into that, and who are some of your clients that you had back in the day? Because you did cut my hair one time for a red carpet event, and the
Right.
girls loved your cut.
Yeah, I've always been into hair. Started as a teenager doing hair, and used to really be into makeup. Not on that level anymore in terms of how the ladies are getting down with their makeup now. I really, really like it. I struggled forever to get these lashes on
Mhm.
right here, and it just, the older you get, you just, it gets harder to pull it together. But as far as hair, I did hair. I started off doing hair in Los Angeles, primarily in the Valley in North Hollywood. One of the ladies that I mentored under actually was an older woman who used to cut Jim Hill's hair, who was a newscaster, and she used to cut OJ's hair.
O.J.
And
Simpson?
O.J. Simpson's hair, yes.
Oh.
Her name is
Mm.
Yawana Moore, and she used to have a shop on Adams and West Boulevard, and I trained under her, and she actually was on the trial. Not that that has anything to do with what we're talking about for the
Right.
O.J. Simpson case. But she was a great woman. My father introduced me to her. She was a great mentor. I left her shop in L.A. on Adams and West Boulevard, went to the Valley, stayed in the Valley. When I left L.A., went to Atlanta. I got a license there, did hair there. I had a friend who switched me over from black hair, which is what I was doing in North Hollywood. I don't know if these shops are still around. Some of those barbers may still be around, but one of them was called Brother to Brother, New York style flavor cuts. Both of them on Lancashire, CJ Harem's. I moved around, which a lot of stylists do in the industry.
So you weren't just doing African Americans hair; you were doing Caucasian and Chinese.
I did all of that when I went to Atlanta. I met a young lady there who is a dear friend of mine to this day. Shout out to Kelly Mott. She worked at Supercuts, and she turned me on to Supercuts. And once I crossed over, I almost didn't cross back. What it did is it just opened up the doors for me to not be just a black hairstylist, but to be able to do Asian hair, Caucasian hair. It doesn't matter. Hair is hair once you learn how to work with it.
One thing I can appreciate about that is that you learned to do versatility.
Yeah.
Okay, because a lot of times when I used to go to the Supercuts, they didn't know how to cut black people's hair like that. I'm like, I want to bow fade. They're like, we don't even have the equipment for that. So for you to be able to be versatile and just do anybody's hair, I think that's amazing. We need more hairstylists like that. Even though
Yes.
hairstylists aren't quote unquote barbers, still it'd be great to have a hairstylist that works in an predominantly all female barbershop or hair or whatever you call it, a hairdresser,
Right,
and then can
right.
just go with the boys
And
too.
mine is actually, my license is actually a master barber. So
Okay.
I'm not a cosmetologist.
Mhm.
And back when I got my license, back in Timbuktu, the only difference between a master barber and a cosmetologist is that a master barber has a license to use a straight razor, and a cosmetologist does not.
Mm.
And a cosmetologist has a license to use to do manicures and pedicures, and barbers are not. Those were the only major differences, because other than that, both of them I have to learn still, even as a barber, how to do a roller set, how to do a relaxer, how to do the facials and all that kind of stuff. So the license is just really from one professional to another professional, saying this is what my forte is. My forte and my specialty is cutting. But it doesn't mean I can't do a color.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I can't do a flat iron. But I prefer men. I love men. Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah, okay.
You know I love me some men. Okay, Nicole, let's break the
Absolutely.
ice.
Yes.
The ice.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
what's
The ice, baby. Mm-mm. Hey, the ice, baby. Right.
Girl, you know we can make up a song. Okay.
At any moment.
So you're walking into a bar, okay?
Mhm.
How do you approach a man that you are attracted to? I know a lot of women like men to come up to them first. But
Right.
if you see a brother over there that you just can't not speak to, how would you approach him?
Woo, you know what? It's funny you would ask. It's funny you would ask, because I actually just approached a gentleman, but it wasn't in an open setting. It was through social media.
Do tell.
And real simple, as talkative as I can be, and it's in my nature, I do know how to keep it simple when I need to as well. So I reached out because this brother is a friend of mine, supposedly. However, I'm not aware of him, but he happens to be from Boston, which is where I'm from.
Right.
So you know how you can meet people online and they'll send you something and you don't even know them, but because you have 50 people in common that you're friends with, you just accept. So anyway, I reached out to this gentleman and I simply asked, "Are you single and do you live in Los Angeles?" And this gentleman responded with, "I'm in Boston right now, but I'll be in LA to be closer to his children."
Children,
Like plural.
not child. Okay.
And long story short, this person and I went back and forth, but right after they said that, I said something along the lines of, "But I don't think you really answered my question. Are you single?"
Ooh.
So they ended up responding and saying, "Well, why do you ask?" And I'm thinking to myself,
Knucklehead, why you think I asked?
exactly.
What's going on, Monty?
Exactly. So that's a game. And when he asked, "Why do you ask?" he did an LOL right after. Like, it's funny, but I'm like, okay, this is gaming already. So I said, okay. So I said, "I'm going to tell you why I asked, but let me ask you, why do you think I'm asking? But again, I'm going to tell you after you tell me what you're thinking." So he said something like he didn't know. And you know I've got the receipts.
Right.
But I'm not going to go into them because I'm going to do something with that later. But long story short, by the end of that messaging and all that bullshit, can I curse? I don't even.
And can.
Okay. So with all that going back and forth,
Mhm.
I realized they ended up asking me for a picture. But I said, "Here's my number, let's talk." And he said, "Okay." But yet he didn't call me. But he then said, "What's next?" I think a chat means a phone call. I'm not into that back and forth.
Right.
Let's talk. And he asked me for a picture. And I didn't really feel comfortable immediately sending because in my mind, let's get on the phone and talk and at least see if we can have a conversation. And if we can, then, but my mind, you're my friend on Facebook. Haven't you already gone through my pictures and my profile?
Yeah, you know what that reminds me of sometimes, like when you're on a dating app or a dating profile and you're messaging somebody like, hey, can I get a picture? No, there's the pictures that are on my profile. What more pictures do you need?
If
You're
that's
certainly
not
not getting
enough, if that's not enough to at least spark your interest into having a real live phone conversation and come up out of the texting world and let's truly talk, then we're wasting each other's time.
right. Like, go home, Roger.
Right.
Well, I'm glad that so it didn't end up working out for him.
Not no, because at the end of that, we ended up. I said, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and delete you from my account, and I don't know why you're even still responding.
Not the unfriend.
Yeah, I mean, I did, and I went right in and I unfriended him because why? Why are you on my page? And then when I step to you,
Yeah.
which in my mind should be maybe flattering to some men, but to be honest with you, I generally don't like to be the one to step to a man. I really think it's a man's place to step to me. One, if he's interested, and if he's a man that's interested in what he sees and he's interested in what my utilities bring.
Okay, utilities. Okay.
I mean, you know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
utilities.
And if he's not, then I'll know that as well, because I've had men that I have befriended that are not interested in my utilities, but we click on another level
Right.
of friendship. But if he's not a man that is, in the community and he is a heterosexual man and he's looking for what a woman has, then come on with it.
The utilities.
The utilities.
I know one thing, brothers. Y'all better appreciate her utilities.
The utilities.
Okay, that's the word for the day.
Absolutely.
This episode, the word is utilities. Hashtag utilities.
Utilities.
Okay, so I want to ask you, now you know how the dating culture is for this generation, right?
Yeah.
You come from a different generation. How is it different from when you were around in your 20s or your 30s?
Wow. It is real different because one, although I just seen a youngster on social media recently saying that she didn't like texting, and this girl looked like she was all of 25, 26, 30 years, 25, 30 years old. However, I do believe that the youngsters today are definitely so much more into texting. Like, they'd rather text you. If you turn right around and call them, they'll ignore the call, but prefer. And I kind of understand that as well too. But one, back in my day, there wasn't really all this. I mean, there wasn't no social media. There wasn't no Instagram. There wasn't no Facebook. We had phones barely. We had the brick phones. It was a different. We had pagers. We
I
had to
remember
come
the
up with
pagers.
numbers to let you know how to say I love you.
Yes.
It'd be a 1 or, whatever.
It was
an
more
L.
effort back then.
It was.
You had to work harder. Now it's just a little bit too easy. You know what I mean?
It is easy, but it's also hard because it's so easy, if that even makes sense. Like,
yeah.
it's so easy to meet somebody anywhere and immediately, even if they're not done up, if you just caught someone with some flip-flops on, some jeans on, no makeup, baseball cap at the grocery store, and they grab you there, all you have to do is say, here's my you exchange social media info. That allows them to run to your social media to see what kind of pictures you have posted of when you've been looking like a bum and when you've done a little something.
I'm not gonna hold you. If I meet somebody and I'm out shopping, grocery shopping, and they say, "Hey, I think you're handsome or whatever. Are you single?" And I'm like, "Hey, can we exchange Instagrams?" I'm gonna immediately be turned off. Why do you want my Instagram? Ask for my number and then set up a date.
Well,
I don't want you going through my social media. What is that going to do? You already saw how I look right here in person. If you really want to take me on a date, I'm going to give you my number and then we can go from there.
Now, see, that sounds old school.
Right. I'm more old school.
And that does sound old school because I like that.
Yeah.
However, you don't get that often. I think
Yeah.
people feel like to just do the social media thing is a good way to start.
Yeah.
And then if they go through your page and they get a vibe, because I believe that social media is a second way to present yourself. It shows a little bit of your style. It shows a little bit of your flavor, of your content, of your thinking.
It shows what you want it to show. And I think that's a problem now with today's age and society because people don't show what's really going on. They don't show the real, the raw, the uncut.
That's true.
That's why I'm not going to give you my social media when we're first meeting. I'm going to give you my phone number so we can sit down and you can really see who I am as an individual. You can hear me, you can feel me. You know what I mean?
Do you do that even if, although we want to believe that looks are not everything, if you see a gentleman and he is not the most attractive to you, if you were to have a kind, okay, and you say, he's not really my kind, or he's not my type, or he's not attractive, but say you all bumped one another or whatever, and he comes over and you just start talking, what if you immediately think, I'm not attracted to him? However, you know where we live. And when you live in certain cities, and Los Angeles, in my mind, is definitely, if not number one, it's number two next to New York in terms of entertainment in the industry on all levels, whether it be music, television, movies, film, So if you meet a gentleman and you think, he's not my type, he's not my style, would you still want to give him your personal number? Because that could be sending a different, whereas if you were to give him your social media, this could be a networking opportunity because you're immediately thinking, not my flow. Like we immediately kind of size people up from head to toe as soon as we see them.
Are you talking about in terms of somebody slicing my DMs and then we hang out, or
No,
if I
I'm
meet them out
talking
in person?
about if you're out in person.
I'm gonna
if
know
you
from
meet
then if I'm
someone.
attracted to them. I'm not
Now,
about to go
what
to
if
their
you're
house.
not attracted to them, but they are nice? You could meet someone that you're
The
not.
devil
attracted
was
to.
nice.
If you meet somebody and you're not attracted to him on a sexual level, or like, ooh, I could do him. Ooh, I just met my husband. Ooh, yeah, baby, I'm cooking dinner tonight.
We could be friends, but you know what? Also,
So if you're gonna be friends, wouldn't you then want to give your social media information because it's not as personal? Because they would have to send you a DM, which is different than calling your direct number.
it just depends on if we are on a date or not. You get what I'm saying? I'm not
Okay.
gonna I'm not one of those people that I'm gonna look at you like, oh my God, are you fine? You could be my man. You know
Right.
why? Because those people that look at people like that,
Mhm.
they can be fine and beautiful and have so much onion and garlic powder
Right.
inside.
Right.
I'd rather have somebody that's kind of a nerd or that's not usually my type that can wow me.
I
Because
got you.
then, even if I'm not attracted to you physically, you
Mhm.
talking to me having a personality, and that's kind of grooming me. That's more of my type. That would
Right.
make me want you over Monty over there to looking real good.
Right.
Okay, but got a
Right.
whole bunch of problems. The garlic powder, onion powder. I don't want that. I want a man that it will come correct, and I want a man that's confident. Not just
Mhm.
because of how he looks, but I want a man. Actually, I want an ugly motherfucker. I want a man that's ugly,
You know what? Let
and
me tell
he
you.
feels like he has to just spoil me,
Not
treat me so good.
having the looks can definitely be a way
Mhm.
to slow the folks, right?
Yeah.
Because you gotta get into someone's personality if they're not the most attractive.
It's usually the ugly men that are
I've had them on
everything.
both. I've had
honey.
them on both ends. I've had unattractive in terms of what society might consider to be attractive and not. So I've had attractive and I've had
Right.
unattractive.
Yeah.
But I think it's ultimately
And I'm not
it's
saying
about how they
attractive
treat
men.
me and how I feel when I'm with them.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
And I'm
'cause
not saying attractive men can't be the great, because there's some men that are beautiful
I've
in
had
and out.
attractive men that were assholes.
One of
Okay. Excuse me.
I said I'm one of them.
One of what?
I'm one of those men that are beautiful in and out.
Okay. You
know.
are. You are. You are definitely beautiful inside and out.
Thank you,
I
friend.
wouldn't
So are
fuck
you.
with you if you wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Come on
I
now.
wouldn't. I
And
wouldn't.
I need ladies to look at me. Let me tell you something right now. And we looking eye to eye. It's about to be summertime. Don't ever think that you less than because a man denies you. Let me tell you something. There's so many men out here that will be willing to kiss the ground that you step on. You're beautiful. Maybe he's just not able to accept the fact that you can handle things on your own, that you can pump your own gas, that you can go to the store, you can get your own groceries, that you can take care of your own kids, that you don't even need to wake up in the morning and put on makeup. You can step outside and still be that girl. Don't ever
Right?
let a man dim your light
Yeah.
so he can shine. And let me tell you something. Just because a man says no, good, thank you, because guess what? You're a queen, and you need a king to be sitting up and be
Remember
able to
that.
handle you. So don't ever feel
Pow,
less than. It's
pow,
about to be
pow.
summer. We outside. We're not worried about no
Outside.
man.
Outside.
So he did you a
Outside.
favor.
Outside. Outside.
Speaking of outside,
Yeah.
you have been outside, honey, for some time.
A little
And
bit.
you have a very interesting story that I want you to share with everybody, because when you told me this, I was a wow factor. It was like a love story. You were in LA searching for somebody that was not even existing. Please tell the people the story.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold on. You threw me off. What story we talking about?
The man that died, honey. Hey, are you guys enjoying this episode? If so, make sure you guys follow and subscribe now. With that being said, enjoy the remainder of the episode.
Ooh, baby. No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
I have a first love that I had never gotten over. Although I went on and lived my life. And I found out a couple of months ago, I found out in March that he had committed suicide. And you know, I have been dealing with that grief because I've never lost anyone that I was connected to in terms of a relationship or a man that I was involved with. I never lost anyone that I'm aware of, you know what I mean? Like in terms of death, you know? So I'm not really used to dealing with death. And it's just really kind of ironic because it's not like me and this man were together. Um, you know, we met when we were teenagers, and I was a little bit behind because I happened to have a mother that was a control freak that held me back twice during elementary years. So I was always one of the oldest kids in my classroom. And I remember the first time she did it in the first grade or kindergarten. Then the second time she did it to me in the sixth grade in Peabody, Massachusetts. And then I repeated the sixth grade in Roxbury, Massachusetts, Boston, in the city with my grandmother. And I remember the teachers telling and the administrators telling my mother, Judy, which is my mother's name, they said, we don't suggest you do that. It is really going to mess her up, you know, in terms of just not being up to par with her other classmates. And she wasn't, it wasn't that the teachers or the administrators had suggested it. My mother is the one who told them, I want her to repeat the sixth grade. And that was because I had a little bit of a reading problem. Reading has never been my strength. So I might have been on a fourth or fifth grade level in terms of reading in the sixth grade. However, the administrator says she's okay and she's academically on top on her other subjects. She'll catch up. But again, I had a mother that was the best way to describe her at this very moment for this, at least this part of talking about her, is to say that she was a control freak. So anyway, when I met this gentleman that you just asked me about who took his life, I met him when I was in high school in the 10th grade, I think, and was with him until I was almost in the 12th. Long story short, we just basically, he was living a certain lifestyle that was scary to me. And that lifestyle he lived, from my understanding, because we had mutual friends, and periodically over the years I would hear from him, or you know, we'd bump into each other and we'd have intimacies and we'd get together but never really talk. It was always some quickie. And he had asked me numerous times over the years to have a baby. However, because he was in a certain kind of lifestyle, I'm a scaredy cat. That's why they call me Nick the late bloomer, because I was 32 when I had my one and only child. And
Wow.
she's 22 now. Okay? And I'm 54 right now. So,
And you look good.
thank you very much. I appreciate it. I really
Yeah.
do. I appreciate it.
Black, no great.
The reality is that he was living a lifestyle that was scary to me, not just for the lifestyle in itself and all the things that came with it, but one of those things that would come with it would be crazy bitches. And in my mind, I thought to myself, pretty high confidence level, high self-esteem, not to be confused with conceited, because I'm not that. However, I always thought that I was too cute, too pretty, too much going on, and had things that I was working towards that would not include having to look in my rearview mirror or being caught up with a man who lived a certain kind of lifestyle. And if things didn't go right for him in that lifestyle could take out a woman that is laying with him. So for me, I walked away from him. And he asked me not to, but what I ended up realizing in the last month since I found this out about this gentleman, as much as I loved him, and I feel like I've never loved a man the way I loved that particular man, everything really does happen for a reason. And the reason I say that is because not only does everything happen for a reason, everything happens for a reason. He ended up having kids by numerous women. Not to try to say that that's a bad thing. I end up, the first woman ended up passing away, which the first woman was the woman that I had encountered. And when I encountered her, I just said, you know what? You can have them. I mean, there's just too many. I'm not fighting over a man.
I'm not about to go to battle.
I'm not about to go to battle
For
for
him.
no man.
Right.
And the reality is that he's gonna keep on doing what he wants
wanna
to do. So even though
Yeah.
the woman was crazy, I still fucked with him. But what I did was, although I still was involved with him periodically, I wasn't with him. I really began to move on in my own life, and he was just someone I would see periodically because I didn't want to be the other woman. And in my mind, she would have really been the other woman because I was fucking first. I was before the one that ended up his first one, the first
Right.
baby mama. She didn't live very long after they said I do. And that was on, that might have been at the end of her battle with whatever she was battling
Yeah.
and whatever she ended up passing away from, which, I've heard different things, but I don't want to say what I heard because that's hearsay. Okay?
Right.
Allegedly. So,
Okay.
yeah, I'm not trying to, and she's deceased. And then he moved on from her and hooked up with somebody else that was okay with the lifestyle that he was in. I mean, there's always somebody for somebody. Like, this woman is in his oldest child's age bracket.
Yeah.
But people do it. My stepfather was 4 years older than me and a white man.
Okay.
So my mother was with a man that was a white man 4 years older than me, was with him for 20 years and had a kid with him. She had her second child at 43.
Wow. Mama
there's
was
a
a Rolling Stone.
Yeah,
honey.
there's a 25-year difference between me and my brother.
Wow.
Yeah.
That just goes
Yeah.
to show age ain't nothing but a number. 'Cause
I
I love
know.
me a pop.
I know.
Okay, so let's lighten up the mood, okay?
Okay.
Okay, Donald Trump. Did you hear about all of his being guilty for all of his 34 counts?
Yes.
Yes, Donald. He has been found guilty for all 34 charges.
I know.
How do you feel on that?
Oh, I want to see what's going to happen with the next 2 or 3 other
Right.
situations he has.
I mean, of course he
coming
paid
up.
the girls for hush money. I would have been at 35th.
Right,
Okay?
right,
Listen,
absolutely.
Okay, and then all this stuff about Diddy, everybody here talks about it every single week. I know y'all tired of hearing about it,
I
but what
know.
you feel?
You know what? I think that is very sad.
What did Kendrick Lamar say?
They not like us. They not like us. They not like us. Hey, hey, yeah. They not like us. I mean, it's sad. And it's, you know what's really the saddest about that is that before the video came out, Diddy was talking completely different. And I just think that it just really shows that people will sweep things under the rug as long as they can sweep them under the rug and things not be found out. However, they say what's done in the dark will come to light.
Like, yeah, it always does, darling.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. I
And that's-
think it's sad. I mean, I want to say I wish him the best. I wish Cassie the best. I wish
Everybody involved the best. And Kim Porter's case is now reopened, and she wasn't able to share her story. So I hope now that her story comes out, so other women who have gone through the same thing that she has
absolutely
can be able to, relate to that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Everybody needs.
And when
that.
I say wish everybody the best, I believe that I don't want anyone to misunderstand that. I'm not wishing P. Diddy the best in terms of beating it. I believe that I wish everybody the best in terms of the victims
Right.
and anyone that has gone through that. And in terms of the people that were the perpetrators, I think that they should get whatever they should get. They should get what's coming to them. I mean, if if you're breaking laws and you're doing things like that, you need to, I mean, Kells is in there. I mean,
Right. All of that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, before we end the podcast, I want to ask you, has there been a moment in your life when you felt like you were on your own, but then you realized that you may have been on your own, but you were never alone? Maybe that be somebody there that reached out to you right in that moment of you breaking it. Maybe it was God.
Yeah, I've been alone a lot. Coming back to Los Angeles in 2019, I was couch surfing. I don't want to say everybody has a homeless story, but I do have mines now, and I had never experienced that until I came back to Los Angeles in 2019, and and that was September of 2019, and I didn't get my own spot, which is where I am right now today, which is where I met you, until March of 2021. So 2019, the end of that year, 2020, it was harder than a mug. But I'm sometimes on the fence with the belief in terms of God. Although I want to say I believe in him, and I was raised in the church. But there have been times when I feel like my faith was very, very weary. It was really becoming shaky. But some kind of way things work out. So I feel like, there's definitely a higher spirit, whether we want to name him God or Allah or, I don't know, whatever. Always.
Yeah.
I am too, but I'm chill today.
You pushed through and you made it. Yeah, you real calm because you really just be on 10.
I do.
You do.
I mean, yeah, I'm trying to keep it, classy today. This is round one, but hopefully I'm getting ready to be a frequent guest.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
because there's only so much we can get out in one podcast.
Listen.
So
guests down, the listeners down below would definitely give their advice or they'll chime in on you. I'm sure they're gonna love you and live for you.
I hope so, y'all.
Yes. Okay.
Be sweet, be nice.
Let my listeners know where they can find you.
Nicole, Nicole, M for Michelle, Lewis, Lewis, and then Jones, Jones.
I'll put down her TikTok and her Instagram so you guys can follow her.
Or Nick the Late Bloomer, or yeah. Same thing. Facebook, Instagram. That's all I keep it simple. Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
Yeah.
And I'm barely starting.
On there.
But I have loved this. This has been marvelous. I've really enjoyed this.
Thank you for coming on the pod.
Thank you for having me. And
Of course.
I really hope to be back. Just a little bit more, just a little bit more, just a little bit more. Yes.
Oh my goodness. I had such a good
so.
time.
Same here.
I
Loved it.
I'm your host, Jacob Willis, and I will see you on episode 3.